Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich as Russia. Let us continue on from where we last left off. So we've won the war in Central Asia. We've established the very loyal Turkestan National Republic. I mean, hopefully loyal. I don't know if they can actually, somehow, go against us in the future, but we'll see, aside from that, I think everything's going pretty okay, I would have to say. I mean, it is mid-38, and I will say the economy is a lot worse than I think it probably should be at this point. But with the Russian spirit, I'm sure we'll be okay. We'll persevere through this. The case of Kaiserreich saboteurs. In a widely publicized series of trials of the Volga German capital of Porosk, 29 people of the Saratov gubernia were sentenced to death for spying and sabotage, and 73 were sentenced to hard labor in Siberia. Almost all the defendants were Volga German descent, and they included many educated teachers, lawyers, and engineers. They are guilty of maintaining contacts with Ibtug, the 3B, the German Foreign Intelligence Service, and preparing to carry out sabotage strikes against critical military-industrial infrastructure in Saratov. The defense argued that the evidence was flimsy, but ignored that it was not an option. It was the finest fabrication of that the organizer could make. Besides, what does it matter if the evidence was not real? Is it obvious that the Volga German intelligentsia, educated and with access to various important Russian military facilities, would eventually turn on us? We simply need to take precautionary measure for the Abteilung 3B could recruit them. Among the defendants were multiple important officials from the Volga German Uzietst. These positions can now be filled by loyal Russian civil servants who will continue precautious action, starting with the purge of unreliable elements from local police forces, eventually bringing them under full control of the party. With proper force, more thorough investigations can be launched to capture the remaining Abteilung 3 spies. With success of the operation, attention will be drawn to other groups suspected of harboring sympathies for enemy powers, like the Korosaram, the Korean Russians, and the Karelian and Ingrian Finns. Hard work will teach them loyalty. I appreciate the 1% stability, or 1% war support, I should say. Ignore the whole fabricating of evidence and the execution of innocent men. That's fine, okay? Don't worry about that part. Okay, our division have once again arrived back in the PSA. We only have 27 political power, which is not much. You know, let's go for another upgrade to the railroad, get this finished off, and 4-hour Pacific volunteers. I mean, the American Union State at one point looked very threatening, but now it looks like the CSA is actually going to be the significantly more dangerous power. Again, the CSA theoretically can be on somewhat friendly terms with us. You know, if we don't go to war, if we're not at war with the Internationale, but it's not it's not what I want. You know, Spain being socialist, who cares? It's Spain; they don't matter. America being socialist is a significantly larger threat to us. Let's just see if we can throw a few more divisions in here. I know that we don't really have the supplies for it. We need 16,000 rifles, making 71 per day. I mean, we're still facing economic fallout. It's still a negative 35%, which is still pretty bad. Now, some people are saying that the reason that German control over the economy is still at 10 might be due to the fact that I keep giving them when that event comes out for the tariffs, I keep acquiescing at least a little bit. But it's weird because it doesn't say it gives a +1 point. I mean, it makes sense that it would, but I kind of wish that it would just actually say if it did or not. Could invading Afghanistan happens no matter what. I mean, I would like to invite East Turkestan. This would be nice for us. More development, civilian factories. I should have gotten this way fucking sooner, huh? Probably way sooner. Okay, let's develop the Urals. National extraction. It's all so expensive, huh? 2 naval dockyards I'm not super worried about. Let's nationalize. No. Let's acquisition of BASF dissector. 70 political power sounds good to me. It costs 10 power projection, but I don't really have. We can get some more if we start, looking at Afghanistan. We look towards East Turkestan. And East Turkestan should join us. Mongolia shouldn't, because they're not Sternberg, or what's his name? He's not in charge of Mongolia anymore. And the fate of the Alash autonomy. With the end of the Kazakh rebellion, calls have been made to more thoroughly examine the Alash autonomy. What exactly went wrong with it? The autonomy had its own parliament, government, and security forces. Everything dominated by the Alash Party as dominant party democracy. The unwritten agreement between the Alash Party and Moscow is that they get to keep the step in line, and they can do what they wish. But the system failed to counter separatist agitation and the rebellion. Defenders of the Alash argue that it is ultimately Moscow's fault. We are responsible for maintaining state security, and even if Alash had its own internal security force, it was ultimately the failure of the Kremlin that the rebellious move boiled over in Smerigech. Most seem to agree that maintaining Alash autonomy, albeit reformed, is still a good idea, and there is no realistic chance of a new uprising. Those arguing for total abolition tend to either be hardcore nationalists who oppose all federalism on principle, or reformists who believe that modernizing the archaic social structures of Central Asia can only be done from the top down, under the paternal guidance of Russia. So, I prefer the compliance, honestly. Give me the stability, give me the extra compliance. We're at 73% stability, which I think is pretty good. So I'm happy with where that's at. Nationalists have taken over Netherlands. They've immediately joined the Reichspakt. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I'm not like super happy with it, but it's not the worst thing that's ever happened. Also, because America's in like a 5-way civil war. The pathing breaks. If you're ever playing Horde 4 and your volunteers don't go to where they're supposed to go, it's probably because you're sending volunteers to a country that's fighting multiple people at the same time. And it breaks the pathing. I'm not even too sure why it does. It just does. Okay, so you guys are going to be done in a few more months. I don't think we need to influence Poland anymore, to be quite honest. I don't think it's really even worth it. Mountain rifles. The need for special mountaineering training of soldiers first arose in the 1840s, when the Imperial Army encountered the troops of Imam Shamil in Dagestan. Mobile and adapted for the fighting in the mountains, the locals waged an efficient hit-and-run resistance. Now the mountain units of the Russian army draw a good third of their soldiers from the inhabitants of the North Caucasus. The main part has been serving as peacekeeping and garrison forces of the OSKAB. The recent decision of the Stavka has changed the approach for the training of mounted riflemen in preparation for a likely larger war in Europe. From 1935 onwards, the mounted infantry and cavalry began to undergo training for combat operations in rugged and wooden terrain. And the division received new mountain guns and mortars and gear specifically made for military mountaineering. The new training regime emphasizes physical performance, which included mountaineering and snowshoeing. A notable advocate for the mountain rifles is the famous athlete alpinist Portshik Alexander Ignavych Cernenko, a former Cossack who joined the Mountain Cavalry Regiment. The new school of military mountaineering and skiing, the SHVAGLD, was found based on the Portshik Cernenko's proposal to the Statva. Okay, fantastic. There'll be a little bonus for mountaineering doctrines. I don't know how much we're really going to get into that, to be quite honest. I mean, it'll be good for once we've done all the normal all the normal doctrines, but I mean, I guess it is cheap, right? Like, it would be what, like 25? Special brand specials and remaining 0. Okay, never mind. Okay, fuck me, I guess. We don't get anything. How you guys are still looking good. How is construction going? I mean, it could be better. Legation cities restore the British rights. Again, I don't really care what happens in Legation City. We have better things to worry about. And victory parade in Moscow. Russian rule has been restored in Turkestan. The army has thrown a great military parade in Moscow to celebrate. And most importantly, show the Russian people our strength. There are black uniformed Kordovites in the 2nd Division. There are the crimson dabbed Drozovites of the 3rd Division. Columns of men in armored vehicles roll past as an orchestra blasts a march of Alexander's regiment. 4 bombers fly over the city as a show of Russia's aerial might. Boris Savinkov is welcoming the parade, saluting them as they go past. Thousands of ecstatic Muscovites line the streets, singing and cheering the soldiers. That's going to be a -1 in military anger, so they're both at 3. So this is the thing. The negative... I think we're already at 10, but I think this goes over 10. Where is it? I think this does go over 10. It just doesn't actually show it. So you know what? Fuck it. We don't deal with the Prussians, okay? We'll see if this makes any material difference for the stranglehold of German capital. Because being at 10, it does seem really bad. Yeah, that's really not what we want to see. But we are going to get the Euro program. I then want to follow that up. I mean, get the Russian. I mean, so many things we can still do. But I want to get Chinese frontier. Get a little bit more power projection. We can get Turkestan in the alliance. I think that'll be good. And then you are all 40. I mean, they cost so much political power. Or not political power, consumer goods. Oil fields. We can get good civilian factories. Like, this is 2 and 42 steel. 24 steel, 3 factories. I mean, the oil would be nice. How much oil do we actually have? 54, 57? Let's take you for now. We need excavation 3 to get you finished. There's a lot of stuff. And Japan's declared war in the Philippines, but that's not a high priority for me. Enshrining family values into law. The laws of the Russian Democratic Federal Republic were socially progressive, or one could say morally apathetic. Better fit for a nightlife in Paris than to a Russian village. They failed to criminalize a number of morally dubious practices like homosexuality, contraception, and easy divorces, and additionally weaken the family of a basic unit of society by instead focusing on individualism. The new law that has come to the desk of Boris Savinkov would rewrite these laws so that they conform to a more moral and Christian value, banning degenerate behavior and putting the family in a place where it belongs, at the forefront of society. Additionally, they would include natalist practices such as regressive greater tax benefits for families with a large number of children. The law has been strongly lobbied for the church, by the church especially, calling it a step back in the right direction. More support for the party. Again, more support for the parties, more stability for us. I will always take that. Demand Armenia. Doesn't really work. Again, I mean, soon Egypt and the Ottomans are going to go to war. I mean, it's a weird war for us. Because, I mean, like, we don't want the Ottomans to win. I think. Because, like, the Ottomans are way more likely to join Germany than they are to join us. I think the only way they can join us is if they go national populist, which is basically never going to happen. So, I mean, I guess I could probably send volunteers to the Cairo Pact when the war actually breaks out. The question of the Far Eastern Military District. The Far Eastern Military District has quickly become a hotbed of problems. The combined threats of Grigory Semenyov's bandit army Manchuria, Japanese posturing, unrest among the Cossacks, and then the conspiratorial writings of Mikhail Dergitz pose significant potential for a blowing up catastrophically if we are not prepared. The current commander of the district, General Inovsky Semenyovich, is quite popular in quite popular Yaktuyan war hero, who fought as a corps commander under Kolchak in the Civil War. However, he does have connections to Grigory Semenyov and Mikhail Detrix. Though there is been no sign of disloyalty, still our security services have recommended that the president sack the many of Smolensk's subordinates and of questionable political loyalty, and replace it with someone with fewer connections to Semenyov, even if it would be less liked by the locals. Absolutely. Again, military anger is at 4 now, so I'm not worried about a coup. It seems fairly unlikely. Can go for, I mean, that's pretty good, right? 60, you know what, 60 days for some more oil? How much are we actually spending right now on consumer goods for? It is 4, 8, 16. It's not that bad. It's 24%. Stability is a minus 10%, kind of, offsets that a little bit. I mean, economic fallout, though, is still so fucking bad, man. Actually, you know what I should do? I should be smarter and just look up economic fallout. Restoration of democracy. No, I don't want restoration of democracy. That's stupid. Economic organization, approach the Entente. Get a new name for the council. Has at least 20. Oh, this whole square Germany doesn't exist anymore. Rest the army. Penal battalions. Yeah, so I don't think anything. I haven't even looked over here. Those don't interest me too much. It's not good. The negative 35% output, docket output, factory repair speed, consumer goods. It's all bad. Okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat this and be like, it's okay. It's not good. We'll take a construction bonus. And, you know, we'll even go for Concentrate Industry 3. I think those all seem fairly reasonable. Mission to Tehran. The 5th columnist is also something that I am interested in looking at. Upgrade the railroad. Labor conscription. 1% of population. I mean, that's going to be good. This requires that the war is already over. And presumably, I guess maybe you guys don't require that. Completed Savior of the World, which is down here. So actually, we can't do this. But we can't take you, because that requires a focus down here. You know, actually, I probably should be going. Okay, let's get labor conscription. We get labor conscription, so we get our way down to probably corporatist representation. It goes negative 10% in the way that we want it to go. Problem is, like, daily national support 0.05. Is not really what we want either. The cost of all industrial decisions reduced by 15. Could be good, but that's also something we probably would have wanted a little bit earlier. E34, 1940. I'm always go for more industry tech. I think that just seems worthwhile. What else do we have? Air superiority plus 10%. Is this like everywhere? Okay, so I mean, I'll take it. I mean, it doesn't say like 10% over like the ocean. It just says 10%. Okay, let's invite East Turkestan, and we'll invite Mongolia. I didn't think we would be able to, would be allowed to, but I will definitely, if they want to say yes, I'll say yes. Again, we lend our support. I mean, it'd be good in the future, but I don't think right now. How are you guys doing? Not a spearhead. The regular attack move towards Milwaukee. And I'm going to have you on very careful. Basically, you're just going to be there to assist if someone else tries to make a move. Canada, do you have any interest in declaring war on the CSA? Because I know you're back in the Pacific States, which is nice for us. Not that I think Canada would be able to do too much, because Canada, like, the AI can't really win that war, let's be honest. But it would be nice. Hey, Mongolia has accepted. Hell yeah. East Turkestan is accepted. Let's freaking go. We're so happy. I didn't think Mongolia would do it. I didn't think they had it in them to accept my offer. But I'm happy that they have, for sure. Okay, that's gonna be a 10% swing towards the idiocrats. Well, I mean, we had to do that no matter what. And that's just basically just going to reset it. And we get stability off it as well. So I think it is going to be better in the long run. Even though it is going to be a party penalty. We have resistance cells. Oh, no, it's a negative 0.05. All that means is basically is that it's resetting you to 0. Okay, that's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. We're actually okay. Siam, 5th Zeli Zhang War. We gotta keep getting these projects going, man. The sooner the better. And now there is a massive war going on China. Again, we can do the China gamble. But it's this, again, weird spot where it's like, I don't know what side we would even actually support. Like the Chongqing? We support the National Protection Alliance? We support the Kuomintang. We probably wouldn't support the Kuomintang. Like, I don't know what side here we'd actually even interested in supporting. The myth of October. After the Civil War, Russia had come to terms with its bloody events. What could ever explain the levels of atrocities we committed against each other? Unsurprisingly, the Bolsheviks became vilified, and suddenly even most of the socialists were competing over who had opposed the Bolsheviks first, in an attempt to prove that they were on the right side of history. Those preaching for leniency and national healing, like Vasily Makalov and Viktor Chernov, were left a minority in the early 1920s, and the vindictive purge of anything communist left a dark stain on the Russian Republic's claim of legality and liberty. After many high-level communists, such as Alexei Rykov, had served their sentences going on into the 1930s, they had joined with the Radical Democratic Party. Despite President Madklov's attempt to de-escalate the situation, the gulf between the left and the right kept widening. The SZRS combat squads assassinated communists in broad daylight, while underground socialist radicals tried to fight back. It was against the backdrop of this violence that the ascension of the SZRS would happen, culminating in the Savinkov coming to power in 1934. History textbooks were amended to reflect white history. That the Bolshevik uprising was not just an ordinary uprising, it was an international conspiracy, one which sought to destroy Holy Russia and make sure it never rises again. Responsible for funding the Bolshevik Party and supplying their uprising across central Russia, and were not stopped by force of arms, it would have left Russia broken, destroyed, and shattered. These textbooks made sure to note that Vladimir Lenin had been sent to Petrograd by the Germans, and that many of the leading members of the Bolshevik Party were not Russians, but the Caucasians, Balts, Poles, and especially Jews. On and on goes the cycle of hatred. But with a little bit more hate in our hearts, I think this will be a good time for us to end this episode. So if you enjoyed it, thumbs up. Not enjoying, you can always thumb down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.